What's up, all you beautiful founders? Welcome back to the podcast. I want to talk about a book that everybody loves that pissed me the hell off when I read it the first time. It's a book very well meaning. You've probably read it. You've probably seen the TED Talk associated with the book. It's by a good man named Simon Sinek, and it's called Start With Why. And in Start With Why, Simon lays out this idea that the most successful founders, the most successful businesses have a strong sense of why, a strong mission in the world that's motivating them and their activities or actions. And his thesis is that if you want to build something big and awesome and get the most out of your life, that you should also have a strong motivating why. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, the man with a strong enough why can endure anyhow. Wait, what did he say? This man with a strong enough why can endure anyhow. And so it's a great, well-meaning theory, and I love it. I think it's great for a lot of people. But the problem for me, the reason I hated it, is because I couldn't identify my why. And I've coached so many entrepreneurs. I've been so blessed and lucky and fortunate to be able to work with badasses in the Beyond the Apex group coaching program that we run. And in talking to them, one of the recurring complaints is this feeling like they don't have a big overarching why for their life, and it makes them feel like they're doing something wrong. They're like, I started my business because I wanted to make money. I did this thing and now I feel, and that was great and I'm living my life, but I don't have like this big mission. I don't have this desire to end world hunger or poverty or everybody has these grandiose mission statements, but when you really get to the bottom of it, it's like, is that the thing that's really motivating you? Is that really your why? And they're like, not really. And so for a long time, I fell into that same category. I really struggled with having a big why, and it made me feel like I was doing something wrong. Like I was probably wasting my life's energy on the wrong thing, because you think like, if I could just find the one, like your soulmate, it's like the soulmate of a why. If I could just find that one thing, everything would get easier. I'd be able to wake up at 4 a.m. every morning and it'd be no problem. I'd jump out of bed and I'd be like, let's fucking go, right? Because I got a strong why. And like, because I could never find that, I felt like I was doing something wrong. And nobody talks about that. And I've just seen it play out in the one-on-one coaching that I get to do with others, to realize like, oh, that's actually the default. Most people fall into that. Most people don't have a big overarching strong why. And so in this video, actually, what I want to share with you is the 5 C's of why. That are 5 places that you can look for a why. And it doesn't have to be a big, like world-changing, mission-critical why. This could just be one of these, could be the thing on any given day that you look to and you're like, that's my why for today. And that could be powerful on its own. So the very first why is comfort. The first reason most people start a business, your big why initially is like, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be working for the man. I want to be in control of my destiny. I want to be the one at the end of the day calling the shots. I don't want to work 80 hours for somebody else's dream. I want to work on my dream. So the very first why is simply comfort. It's, you want to realize a financial goal, and that's perfectly all right. Honestly, if you haven't won the money game yet, if you haven't made that first slug of cash, like, it's the best. It's the best. Like, everybody talks about how like money doesn't buy happiness, but I'm telling you, like, life can be, without money, life is a whole lot more miserable. Like, all the terrible things that can happen in life, like money can't stop it. But I'm telling you that if you don't have money, it makes it worse. Your loved one gets sick. Yeah, money can't solve that problem. It can make it a lot better. And I'm telling you, not having the money can make it a whole lot worse. So first one is comfort. Like, it's okay to just want to make money so that you can establish a certain threshold of baseline quality of life. That's okay. The second C is, actually, let me push that one to the very end, because that one I think would be the best at the very end. I have in my notes here. Second one, comrades. The second C that can motivate you, the second why, are your comrades. The people around you, your team. The people that you bring onto your team can be one of the biggest, most powerful sources of why. Because at the end of the day, it's really easy to want to go and change the world. But honestly, what is changing the world if not changing the lives of one individual at a time? And whose life could you impact than the person that you employ, the person that you bring and that you get to spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week sitting and working alongside? Can you inspire them to live a bigger, more awesome, better life? Can you help supply them with the monetary requirements that they need to be able to live that life? Like, that could be an incredibly motivating, very powerful why right there. Is how can you show up for your team, your comrades, to help them overcome that first hurdle of, comfort, or helping them realize their own internal greatness, so that they're focusing their life's energy on things that actually, the work that they're doing on a day-to-day basis, they're connecting that with a bigger, deeper meaning and a why for themselves. So that's the second one. First one is comfort. Second one is comrade. Third one is customers. Now, you probably have a product or a service that, like, you initially started because you have some way of delivering value to another human being, and the thing that you have to exchange, and for their money is more valuable to them than their money. And so, right there tells you that you have something that can help people tremendously. And like one of the things we talk about a lot is that sales is the ultimate form of service, because if you have a product or service that you genuinely believe can make people's lives better, then you have a moral obligation to make it known to them, to make that product, to be the best marketer, to be the best salesperson, to be the best product designer that you possibly can, so that your thing has the opportunity to go out and positively impact as many people's lives as possible. And so your product or service can in and of itself be the big why. The customer that you get to serve could be the big why. And honestly, that's one of my favorite ones. Like the thing that I love the most about coaching other entrepreneurs is just being able to pour into them to see them succeed. Because I know the downstream of that is that they're going to help their comrades. They're going to solve their comfort issue. They're going to be able to solve problems for their customers. And then they're going to be able to move to the fourth C, which is their community. And this is where things get really, really, really cool. Is like, as you solve for your own comfort, now you can start to pour into your team. And as you start to pour into your team, you can start to pour into your customers even more. And as your customers start to succeed more and more and more, your business is going to start to succeed. And now you're going to be able to take resources and pour it out into the world, to the community, to your family, to your network, to the neighborhood, the people that you get to, you get the good fortune of getting to do life with. And so, the very first mistake, though, that I see a lot of people make, especially young entrepreneurs, is they think, okay, I need to go change the world. And again, it's like, to change the world, just focus on changing yourself, and then change the life of one person, and then two people, and then try to change the life of the people closest to you, and then try to change the people just slightly further out from that. So instead of focusing on trying to like go make the United States a better place, focus on just making your city a better place. Make your neighborhood, your block, right? Make your family a better place. So that can be an incredibly powerful why. Is what is the community at large that I get to serve? And you can think as grand as you want. I'm not telling you to think small. I'm just saying, like, these ripples of impact are best thought of as small ripples that then expand outwards. And instead of trying to go create a tidal wave of impact on the world, just start by throwing pebbles and then rocks and then boulders into the pond and making bigger and bigger ripples as you go. The fifth and final why, the fifth and final C of why, and this is the one I hope that everybody gets to. I think it's the most beautiful why, beyond just being able to help other people. And the other ones that we focused on, for the most part, besides comfort, that's solving problems for you and your family. The other ones are really externally focused. But I find the most powerful motivator for most founders is internally driven. And so the fifth C of the 5 whys is creation. Just the act of creation, I think, is the most beautiful gift that you have to give to the world. Beyond the impact and all that, like, the time that you get to spend doing things that are truly meaningful to you, that fill you and spark your soul with joy, that you're excited to just have lost yourself in the pursuit of doing the activity. It doesn't even really matter what the output of it was. You just lost yourself in the pursuit of it. I find that those activities that you lose yourself within when you're in that flow state, they tend to be the most beautiful, high value things that you could possibly give to the world. And Steve Jobs talked about this in his book, Make Something Wonderful. He didn't write the book. It's just a collection of Steve Jobs in his own words, where the Steve Jobs Foundation, they took all his emails and memos and speeches, they compiled them into a free resource. So you can go check it out, makesomethingwonderful.com, I think. is the name of that. But he talks about how the most purest expression of appreciation and gratitude that you can give to the human species is to pour yourself into making something wonderful. And so just the act of creation on its own can be a very powerful why. And I'll share this. I was journaling about this last week, is that for a long time, I actually struggled with the feeling of selfishness that comes from creating. Time spent writing or time spent painting, it might feel very self-indulgent and very self-serving, and you can be left with feeling like, what good does this have with the world? And I'll tell you something, is that it would have been 8-9 years ago is when I wrote my last fiction novel. Right? For a long time, I wrote 12 science fiction and fantasy novels. It was my life, and I loved it. I loved that act of creation, and I actually went away from it for a time because one of the internal struggles I was having is that it felt indulgent. And I was like, great, I'm writing things that are entertaining, that are helping people escape, but it's not actually impacting and transforming people's lives. And this time, these hours, these dozens, these hundreds of hours that I'm spending locked up in a room writing with nobody else around, just kind of living in a world of my own imagination, it felt very self-indulgent, and I started to feel guilty about it. And so that was actually one of the big reasons, I don't talk about this a lot, that I went so hard into entrepreneurship for so long. And now in recent years, I've rekindled this love of the act of creation with this podcast, with writing, with creating resources that can help people's lives be better. What I found was, while I loved fiction, it was a beautiful act of creation. It wasn't until I married that act of creation with some form of external service, knowing that what I was creating was actually improving people's lives, that I really unlocked, it seems like, the thing that I was put on this planet to do. And so my hope for you is that you can find that thing for yourself, whatever that is. And that's part of finding your why. But just know that, like, it is a journey. And I've been on this journey for a very, very long time. And it's a continual process of polishing the turd, right? There's African process of taking dung, a roll of like wildebeest poop, and they roll it into a circle, and then they keep massaging it, and they keep massaging it. Yes, they're playing with poop. But there's this process where as they polish this poop, it eventually gets to be a perfect shiny sphere. It's beautiful, actually. And then it becomes like this ornament that they sell to, upper class white women in New York. I don't know, like you make a good business off of polishing poop. But I think about that same refining process as the process of finding your why. You just take a bunch of shit, you put it together, you just keep polishing it. You just keep refining it. And you do that long enough, eventually, whether it's you've solved for your comfort, you solve for the comrade, you've looked to your community, to your customers, and now to the act of creation for your why, eventually you will come out with a very shiny, very beautiful piece of poop. I don't know, that's a weird analogy. Maybe it makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, get out there, go find your why, go polish some poop. I'll see you in the next episode.